When you reach for that midnight snack in the fridge despite not being hungry, your willpower isn't collapsing. A flawless 200,000-year-old survival system, one that worked perfectly in the wild, is now hijacking the controls, dragging you into a fatal error in the face of the modern world's artificial abundance. To understand this error, we must rewind the clock 200,000 years and return to the very place our biological system was designed, the African savannas. Anthropological data shows that a Paleolithic hunter-gatherer had to walk an average of 15 to 20 kilometers just to meet their daily caloric needs. The energy expended was massive. The calories gained were pitiful. Procuring protein, hunting wild animals, was incredibly risky. Even if the hunt was successful, the low protein yield compared to the high energy burned turned it into a poor investment. Moreover, protein wasn't a cheap energy reserve for our biological system. Our bodies couldn't convert protein into fat directly or quickly. To prepare for the approaching freezing winter, the system needed a much faster, easily storable, and cost-effective fuel, carbohydrates. Finding pure sugar or high fat in nature was nearly impossible. For our ancestors, sugar meant a single honeycomb at the very top of a tree, or ripened fruits that bloomed for only a few weeks a year. Statistics show that our ancestors consumed only about 22 teaspoons of pure sugar in an entire year by today's measurements. In this environment of extreme scarcity, our brains wrote a remarkably simple yet effective rule, one that the scientific world today calls the Thrifty gene hypothesis. The rule was this: the moment you see carbohydrates, you must keep eating even if your stomach is full, and you must store it all, because our bodies instantly converted every gram of sugar they found into vital fat cells. These fat cells ensured our ancestors survived and reproduced during the relentless periods of hunger and famine that they battled for years on end. Meaning, according to this rule, the feeling of fullness was something not to be trusted. Because no ancestor who found those rare calories and said, "I'll save this for later," ever survived the brutal winter that followed. Naturally, they couldn't pass their genes down to us. We are the descendants of those who did not trust the feeling of fullness and kept eating. Despite hundreds of thousands of years passing, this rigid rule has not been erased from our minds. We are trying to fight 24/7 modern supermarkets using this primitive brain. This is exactly where the infamous evolutionary mismatch strikes. According to statistics, an average adult in the modern world consumes more processed sugar in a single week than a Paleolithic hunter-gatherer consumed in their entire lifetime. Your archaic brain cannot comprehend the refrigerator in your kitchen or the limitless nature of global supply chains. It codes every high-calorie food it sees on supermarket shelves as a highly rare survival loot that must be consumed immediately. Moreover, it doesn't even need to throw a single spear or endure hours of survival struggle to get it. The modern food industry intentionally exploits this biological bug. Multi-billion-dollar food corporations use a flawless mathematical formula in their labs known as the Bliss point. Through this formula, they combine ratios of high fat and refined sugar that are never found together in nature. The massive dopamine explosion created by these high-calorie synthetic foods ruthlessly blocks your satiety hormone, leptin. So, the thing that makes you happily devour that entire package, even when your stomach is full, is not a lack of willpower. It is a massive industry actively hacking your satiety signals. The dopamine pumped into your body when you see that sweet treat isn't secreted to give you pleasure. It is a motivational hormone designed to guarantee your survival. While your primitive mind whispers, "If you don't take these calories now, you will die this winter," a blaring red alarm rings in the background. Your primitive mind cannot cope with this alarm. Your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain responsible for decision-making, completely shuts down at that midnight hour, leaving behind only the most basic, most primal instinct. Don't stop. Consume. In the face of this ruthless glitch, let go of the guilt. You do not lack willpower. You are simply a primitive survival machine, standing in the middle of a world of limitless, one-click calories, preparing for a massive ice age that will never come again.